Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, listeners. It's me, Sulaiman Ben Suare. Today is the 13th of April 2022. The time is just gone almost 3 o'clock. That's a minute to 3 in the afternoon in Birmingham, England. I just want to have a brief conversation, a reaction to the outrage, but I call it the selective outrage. Selective outrage is as we are reacting to what is happening about the nomination of Fabakary Tombong and the rest, 𝐫𝐶 and the rest, and as an outrage. Yes, I mean, it deserves to be outrage. Just a minute, I forgot to share this video before we start. Yeah, it's an outrage, and it deserves to be reacted. But the reason I'm coming out today, just brief. I have some engagement to attend anyway. But I think it's right to point out certain issues right now, when people, they're giving their attention, and to understand that selectively, picking and choosing where we expect the right thing to be done, it's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. And that's why yesterday, day before yesterday, when Adam Barrow came out with the speech, he read that thing about whatever it was, about reconciliation, whatever it was, doing things together. And people, just started to say, oh yes, it's a good speech. But what are we expecting for him to say? But it's not what we should expect him to say, what he should be doing. Why would we believe anything that Barrow would say? Why would we believe anything Barrow would say? And another point is, when things start, we ignore it because of our interest. We start to look at things in the view that, is it to my interest or is it to my party interest? That's where the failures are. And I just want to take a journey to history, a journey to history. And again would be my personal experience, how I see things. And probably some people would see things the way, or they might see it differently. Or some people might have not even thought things that way. What is happening in the Gambia today? It started from when we had our independence. Yes, when we started to take ownership of our politics, per se. That's when we say self-governance, we have our independence. Why did I say that? People that were present or managed to understand, because I was not present at some of this time, or I could not have been aware, but benefit of the people around me, and benefit of trying to educate myself, I come to understand certain things, because I've put interest in finding out. I just don't settle with absorbing things. I'll try and find out the things, or when it's controversial, I try and pursue it. And I keep on saying it, because that nature in me, I have even explored going to a church for 1 year. I did not convert, but I attended church rigorously. I think it was Thursday evenings and Sundays. I did it rigorously at the Baptist church by Yellowgate. Because I was kind of confused of, what society we were as a young guy. This was in 86. As a young person, to go into a journey, I had to find out what have happened here is, and we can relate this again on our political history. when we didn't have self-governance, we have the white man as the governors. Like in they were technically the head of, they used to be the commissioners, they used to be head of departments, they used to be most of the things. And in a sense, I mean, even though they were colonials and everything, but they put in a system and put in an order. And the system and order was working in a way that people accepted it. To the extent, why did I say people accepted it? When we wanted to become a republic, I think it was 1968, Gambia went to a referendum. Gambians voted against becoming a republic. They voted against becoming a republic. Because of what did they say? That if we govern ourselves, we're not going to treat each other better. That's history. And you see, that's why I keep on saying, I will never subscribe to saying that Gambian people are bad. Because I don't measure Gambian people on the decisions they take when they vote. What I mean by that is, I measure Gambian people for the other way they interact. Generally, I mean generally. When they vote, that vote is determined by influential minority. And these are the influential minority that are causing our problems. And the other influential minority that decided to be quiet or selectively playing a game. All they after is whoever comes into government, they don't care. They will make sure they are on the level that they will always be protected or enjoy. That's how I see it. I won't say that Gambians are bad. That's not true. I will not only measure it that why we have so much people coming into our country and settle and prosper. It's because of our nature. But again, I can go on. I can go and give you examples. I can go on and give you examples. Many. I can give you an example. That's why I said certain things, when it happens, it builds up. In Liberia, there's a guy called Malanjiba. Some people know him from. Malanjiba is sorry, okay. Malanjiba is from Gunjur. I mean, he was in the army with us. Malanjiba and another chap called, another chap, I forgot the name of this chap. They had a quarrel in the afternoon, and we all went to bed. But at that time, we had some kids from some rebels that were disarmed, and they were living with us, kind of a rehabilitation process. And during the night, one of the we call them small soldiers, one of the small soldiers wake up Chare, yeah, Mr. Chare, I don't forget Chare's first name. He woke up Chare, and Chare woke up, and he said to Chare, why not take your gun and go and kill Malang? And Chare said, for what? He said, yeah, he's been fighting you. He just give you that bit. The other bit is, during the First Republic, I can tell you there were so many attempted coups, or people who wanted to attempt a coup d'etat. Not because of they were organized or anything, because they just had outrage. They were just angry. And that outrage and anger is not, and I'll tell you, people I know who attempted this, it's not that because they want to be something else. They were not even thinking of governance. Because they were just angry with the system. And they just wanted to go and, get rid of these people and think that other people can come in and change. That tells you how immature people can be, especially at that age. That's why we should be very careful of what is happening to the country. The men and women in uniform, we have to be very careful with them. We have to be very careful with them. That's, I know, but do you know why it have never happened with those people? Whenever they think about it, they are scared of collateral damage. They are scared of killing someone. Say that, no, we don't want anyone alive. How can we do it? No one will die. How can we do it? No one will die. That's always, the strategy always to look how we could do it, no one will die. We can do this, control that, control that. and make an announcement. We can do this. We can. But we come to a conclusion about what about this? I mean, life would be lost because we don't want to kill each other. That was them. That was them. But you know, things deteriorate. If you don't take care of things, it deteriorates to a level. And you see, prejudice is ignorance. Prejudice is ignorance. You see, we encounter a lot of prejudice in different forms, not based on only tribe. We encounter prejudice for a lot of other reasons. Last week, week before last, I've posted a picture. And when I looked at the picture, I just realized something in the picture. And I looked at it more. This was a picture in army uniform with colleagues and this thing. And when I studied the picture more, I learned a lot. And it just makes sense now how some of us end up. How some of us end up. In the group picture, the people in the group, all of those people left the army before 94, decided to leave the army before 94. And if you understand the background of those people in the picture, will tell you why those people left the army before 94. 2 people on that side stayed in the army until one of them became CDS, Usman Baji. The other one became NIA Director General Bo Baji. I mean, there's a lot we can learn from that. I learned a lot from that. You see, there was prejudice everywhere. But those prejudices were based on ignorance. Because if you're not exposed in many cases, if you're not educated in many cases, you become ignorant. And if you are ignorant, you behave in a manner that you don't even realize that it's prejudicial to others. We have prejudice in many ways. And it's not on the one side, it's on both sides. But we always manage to soldier on. What we fail to do is to educate our people, to get that ignorance out of us so that we can prosper. Until we educate our people about nationhood, we cannot just keep on going. Just like someone, I mean, just trying to go by just by feeling our hands. We have to use our eyes to see where we're going. And again, the failure, as I said, people never trusted them. But in 68, I mean, 1970, or I mean, 2 years after, another referendum. Now, again, you see, a minority took up the leadership and went and campaigned. You know why it was rejected? The Sefol and the Alcalol even were not convinced that if the white man moved away, that their powers would be maintained. Or they don't think that. They think that our own Gambian leaders would have treated them badly. Now they accepted the white man, the way white man give them their powers and whatever it is. And again, that's why I said a minority went around and campaigned and give them promise that we'll treat you better. And give them all this thing of, campaign promises. In certain areas, they went and tell them, na mote jola. Mote na mo jola. If you have a self-listen, na mote jola tuba boya. Na mo be jokan. Na mote jola tuba. All those things we said that. But again, the minute we have self-governance, what did we do? Went after each other. Just as the people feared. Before we have self-governance, what did you have? This most vibrant. Gambia was one of the most vibrant. And I'll tell you, again, I cannot tell you exactly the population, but I'll tell you it was small. I'll tell you it was small. I'm not that old, I'll tell you. But when I was a kid, Newtown was no, there's nothing Newtown. There's nothing like Fajara. There was nothing like K Point. Yeah, there might be a few gardens and these things there. There's Latte Kunda was on the few. Look, the Gambia was small. But it was so vibrant in any aspects you asked for. Very creative. And this was before we governed ourselves. Why did I say this very creative? I'll reference this. Yes, as I said, there was many prejudice everywhere and everything, but that would happen. If you have people move from the provinces to come and settle in the urban area, there are bound to be friction, because most of these people don't know each other. They have never interacted. There are bound to be friction. That's life. And in that, you might see prejudice in it, from both ends. Some might show prejudice by reacting or thinking that, misunderstanding to react. And so these things happen. But they live amicably. And what happened is, when people started to get enlightened or settle down and get this, the bonds started to fix up within the urban and rural. And if I say urban and rural, it was not about tribe. I'll tell you, even us from Bakau, we had those conflicts from people from the province. When they come in, they might be Mandinkas, but they come in, there's a kind of a friction. But that is expected, because we are not used to each other. We've been separate. Our environment was kind of a difference, but we settled down that. But it was vibrant. Vibrant in what sense? Gambia unions were very effective and active. They were together. We have our union leaders. And those union leaders were part of the people who fought for independence. We heard about the Edward Francis Smalls. Those people could have selected to do something different. They could select to do something different. Well, he went into journalism, he went to activism. His faith, his religion was not known, his tribe was not known. He just took a position of leadership. And with we heard about the Balangar protest when he fight for farmers. He's not a farmer. None of his family are farmers. He was from the urban. It does not matter. You see, and JG Face, you see, and you see Jalo unions, everything was for this. They fought. But again, something happened. The youths in Banjul, most of the demonstrations or anything, agitation was coming from Banjul. And what I found out later was, they will tell you, oh, the youths in Banjul, the VU in Banjul. But most of those VU are a mixture of people from different ends, because they settle in Banjul. They are students in Banjul. They come from different corners of the country. Some were from the Congo, but they were part of this. And what was happening in Banjul, the youths, was influencing the youths in Congo. That's it, the way it should be. It was influencing the youths in Congo. You see, we all had our unique, as closer we are to the epicenter, unique way of protesting, unique way of doing things. If you go to many settlements in the provinces, they protested one way or the other. They hold up together one way or the other. We can say they were united. There's nothing like completely everybody chiming together, but they were united. There was something out there. Those communities. Yes, at times there are frictions here or there. That is always to happen. But if we have never seen an open conflict, one way or the other, we had way to settle it. Because most of the thing that brings out the friction is based on misunderstanding. Or someone tried out something and people would protest. People would show outrage. It happened. The same thing, remember, there are many things that happen in Banjul. Many views that happen, these things, and I'll tell you, what used to happen in Banjul used to be heard in around the region. And even when Senegal was looking for integration before our independence. When Premier Jah came and visited the Gambia, two things he did first before even meeting the executives. He demanded to have a meeting, town hall meeting with the youths. He demanded to have a town hall meeting with the unions because they were important. But the minute we went through elections, the elections become divisive. The way even, I might say by default, we had two political parties, the PPP and the PPP and UP, United Party of 𝐸𝐻𝐿 and PPP of Jawara. Jawara was not even the PPP leader. He was brought in to be the leader. And he was not even the first choice. Dr. Marina was the first choice. But Marina, again, you see, again, leadership, he said, look, I'm not a politician. But not today's generation. Everybody want to jump on to be a president. No, it's about to be a leader. And Jawara, yes, have traits of a politician. And Marina said, look, why not go to Jawara? David, he's been in students' union politics, both in Ghana and in Glasgow. I think he will be suited. Yeah. And Jawara was a Christian then. It wasn't an issue. Even if you look at it, it's as they were more progressive. They look at the competence of the man to represent them. The people that went to get Jawara to represent, because Jawara was more educated than them. Even Jawara subscribed to another belief. It did not stop them to bringing him on because they believe that they need someone knowledgeable. And the characters they had about him was enough. The reason they went for Marina was the same thing. And it was the People Protective Party. But again, we cannot dismiss some of these fault lines are bound to happen. But again, the progressiveness was when Jawara and probably some of his colleagues realized that we need to be progressive here, they changed the word protectorate. Because we are in government, we cannot be seen as party of the provinces. We are party of the people. Now, they took out the word protectorate to progressive. People Progressive Party. The UP, as default, again, what the leader actually was seen as elitist. But again, due to probably he was not a politician. You see, some of us might be very educated, whatever it is, but naturally they are not politicians, and his elitistness could not be covered. And obviously, it went on, but he was popular. It was a very competitive elections. But again, the political opportunism started from there. The carpet was pulled down from there. You see, why I'm going to history, just to show that we have not transitioned from colonial to self-governance. The same thing we keep on. We had 1981. We had not learned from the wake-up call. Use it as a wake-up call and do right. We had 94. Now we have 2016. What happened? We are even worse. We getting worse. That's why I said we are going to deal with this, but we have to remember where we went through and coming to this. To that extent, this is what happened. Now, naturally, I said by default. It's not like they selected to be tribalist or to be regional. No, it was by default. People that know each other or settle with each other, have confidence with each other, that's all it was. But it was not drawn that this is our constitution. No. That's how it happened, because that's how people relate. Again, that's why I'm pointing to the picture in the army. Because if you look at the picture in the army that I had, all of us that stood there, I swear to Allah this Ramadan, I can never remember consciously saying that we are the one going to have this picture, so nobody else will be part of it. No. It just happened. But the interesting thing is, all of those people around there are from the Combo. Only one person, this thing was not from the Combo, but he was brought up in the Combo. He did all his schooling in the Combo, but all of the rest were born around the Combo. But what you understand is from the Combo, we have feeling that there was prejudice against us. There was just feeling, inner feeling. And
I know because I was one of the ones fluid, because I have part of my childhood in the province. Because I get to understand, I have an understanding with other part of the country. And from there, I will have people telling me their prejudices too. How they feel that the people from the Congo are prejudiced to them. And that was the beginning. But as we settled out, that was the passing out. That was the recruitment passing out, because we just get to know each other. As we settled down, after 1 year, look, friendship developed in many ways. Many these things. And now it was not about who's from the Congo or not. Because of probably I make friends for you, because of we all sneak out and smoke weed. If I don't smoke weed, I will not be there. There's a group here, probably we sneak out and drink alcohol. If I don't drink alcohol, I won't be there. Some people sneak out, move out there to go to the mosque. If I don't go to mosque, I won't be part of it. You see, now, naturally, we start to build groups depend on our interests. Now, the regionalization, the religious, all vanish. All vanish. Now, it was camaraderie. I lost my friends from childhood that did not join the army. I had new friends in the army. At my time and everything was, I trusted them more. I had for more time for them. My understanding, my mindset was more inclined with these people. Even when I left the army to reintegrate, it was kind of a decision. I had to adjust. This is what it is. That's an example of what prejudice can be. It might not be intentionally prejudice. It might just be an ignorance. It might be uncomfortableness of things. We've just been settled in. We build relationships. And some of those relationships, till now, some people got married with, family. Got to even start spending weekends, each other's, towns or village or whatever it is, to the extent of they find their siblings attractive enough, and to have a relationship and got married. Yes, all these things develop among ourselves. That's just an example of why I take that example as an institution like that, where everybody comes from different corners. But at that moment, you can look at the picture and say the prejudice. Now, again, forming these political parties or other things, it will have to start from somewhere. When you start something, it will be people that you have confidence in, such people you get used to. But as you if you think about it and need to progress, you have to be inclusive. Because that's the only way you can progress. That's what a nation is. But instead, what happened here? Again, the PPP might have done something strategic, might have done something progressive, but it was opportunist. Why was it opportunist? They created this policy of opportunism. You have to cross-carpet, come to my party, so that my party will be bigger, and in order to be on a gravy train. That's what you're telling them. You are not telling them that what you're coming for is a service. You're already starting a mindset that coming into government is you'll be better off. Yes, you have a secure job, but the mindset should be that you come into government. Now, how can that be done differently? PPP could have said that, look, we found ourselves now, we have a task to develop this country. Now, the UP, we are going to give you 4 cabinet positions. And you don't have to, cost carpet us. We want to work together. We want the country to see us working together. And we don't want to break that party, because if we break that party, there will be no opposition in the country, because it's only 2 parties. But no. Admittingly, they did it for cross-carpet come. And they cross-carpet and come. Cross-carpet and come. And when they cross-carpet and come into the PPP, now, in fact, that's where the tribalism perceptions or some became reality from there. Because now it was a competition of positions. Now, some said, okay, now because these people come in, now they're taking the positions. Again, we have to learn from these things. The intentions shall have to be right. We have to always look at the greater good. We have to be consistent in that. That's why the outrage should not be selective. And until we learn from our history and draw a line, and we can draw a line or reset a button and move forward and say that from now on, I take it onto me, I will always measure something based on the national interest, even if it goes after, against my immediate, because I tell you, the national interest or the greater good is your interest. Immediately you might see something thinking it's your interest. No. Yes, it might be an immediate interest or benefit you think you have. No, but down the line, everything we will lose. Individuals cannot win if the nation loses. Individual cannot win if the nation loses. Now, the outrage here now, if you look at it, I had some audios, and the outrage, I'll bring many aspects. There's an outrage within the NPP, and I will select certain two areas. Because why I select two areas is Banjul. Not because, again, when I select Banjul, it's my expectation from Banjulians. Because as a child, as I said, I was influenced by that. Because we had our protests. Let me give you an example. You know, where I talk about all this VU and things, I mean, where it happened, that's where the epicenter, that's where the capital. We had our protests in Bakau. In many things, I'll tell you, Bakauians would just say this, and we were known as a protest people. And Bakau was actually PPP. Bakau was PPP. Until they had a candidate they want. When a Bakau, son of Bakau, yes, the other candidate was son of Bakau. Again, the other candidate was the son of the Imam. Njai, Abla Njai, was the son of the Imam. A very respected Imam. But when it comes to the politics, the youths of Bakau have, one of our brothers came back from Uppsala University. This was in the 70s, 78 I think. 77, 78. Came back at that time to have a university, be a university graduate and want to go into politics. That's Bunding Kamara. And the youth said they want a candidate, Bunding Kamara, to be their candidate. This was for the PPP. And they said no. Now they're going to be elitists. They want to give it to the son of the Imam. And Bakau said, now then Bunding would be our MP. And Bunding obviously stood for NCP. That's how Bunding became NCP. And across the board, Bakau was unified because it was a youth and it was his competence. It was not because Bunding was Mandinka. No. No. It was because of his youthness and his background. And unfortunately, Bunding just... and when Bunding went to... won these things, and the protest this thing, obviously, that it was a leverage. The PPP wanted him to cross-cup it. Bunding did not. Jawara wanted him to cross-cup it, to go into PPP. That again would have just breaking the NCP from not even lifting up. Lifting up. When Sirif Deba, I can still remember this, when Sirif Deba came and announced the NCP this thing, it was at the by the Botanic Garden in Bakau, in front of the state house. I have not seen it, but it was so much a commotion that it was said. It was said, and I mean, everybody believed it, probably. But why am I saying this is, a lot of things are said, they did not happen. Our people can just exaggerate at times. They said that the vehicle was lifted. Silver vehicle was lifted. I don't think it happened now. Thinking about it now, I don't think it happened. But I believe that it happened then. And that's what I tell you. Still now, if you ask certain people in Bakau, they said, yeah, they see it. And I'll tell you, they have not seen it. Because I know of many incidents that people swear that they've seen it. But now, I know that they have not seen that. It was a lie. You know what, I don't know what Mandinkas called Pichidoma and owl. As kids, we used to stand and say that we see an owl. With glasses, owl with a bag and everything. And I'll tell you, we have our elders would be there and they would acknowledge, and they would acknowledge, yeah, they seen the owl with a handbag and with a glass and everything. Now, obviously, growing up, I know, I mean, they made me believe it. You see, because they said it, you've seen it. Everybody said, I've seen it, you've seen it. even to look at the moon for Ramadan. I'll tell you, anybody can just convince, look at there, and next minute, people would want to just be in agreement. Ah, wow, gisnako. And later it becomes that the moon come out the next day. It have never, because of the size of it, you can tell it have never even come out. Let's move on again. Bakau, we have a way of protesting. It was known for a protest, and it stayed with us. And the interesting thing about Bakau is, when we talk about Bakau, and most people when I was school, I can tell you, I can count the compounds in Bakau, and that's not a long time ago. Apart from Bakau itself, like the Bakau inhabitants of Bakau, the big distance, I can count many compounds where they were not even around where the new settlement was, the new settlement. I'm not even talking about even Sanchaba. I'll tell you, most compounds were vacant. And that's not a long time ago. And what made Bakau was people coming in. Tourism, people coming in. You see, but we had our way of protest. But what I'm saying is, most of these values went down. I tell you why these values went down. When I was strategizing how to oppose Jammeh, and Jammeh came and made that speech in Bakau and accusing the Bakau people for being witches. And when he said that, he was pointing to, we all know, I mean, he was playing a tribal game. And he selected, no, I'm not talking about people of Newtown and Bakau Sanchaba, because you know Bakau. I'm talking about people in Dinko Kono. And he moved and speak Mandinka, because he wanted to divide us. But that was 2015. Unlucky for him, I already started my strategy on 2014. And the strategy actually was natural. Whenever I am in Bakau, I will visit certain compounds. I have to. I mean, not that I even have my things anymore, but it's tradition. This is the people that my father or my parents, my mother and my father have. I have to go and visit those compounds. And all those compounds now, the old people are not there, no more there. These are my brothers who are the compound owners, or some of them are not even there. But some of them are even, I'm older than them, because the elder things are living in somewhere in Kololi or somewhere else. And most of the people living there are not even from Bakau. Some of them, I don't know. But it's a sign of respect. But there are still few that are still there. From the Alcalo, I go to the Alcalo, I go to certain listings in Bakau, I mean, Sanchaba and so on. I did that. And 2014. But I was still thinking of that we have to bring that community back again. It was so divided by Jammeh. And opportunism, money and everything. And interestingly, one of my angle was Dembo by force. Because when Bunding died, and Dembo was encouraged, as a young person, again, encouraged to leave the agricultural department. And promised that, look, you come in by force, you'll be elected. That's where the by force come in. You have to leave your job. If you come by force, you'll be elected. And I'll tell you, the elections, there's the election, that by election, to the evening, I think 𝐸𝐴𝐵 was he was the vice president. 𝐸𝐴𝐵 and others, they brought money in the evening, nothing. You know what Bakau did? Most of the voter cards, where they went and collected the voter cards to make the difference. I said that's it. You win. All of these people agreed to vote for you. And those voter cards were released in the morning. And that strategy stayed in Bakau up to after 94. Stayed in Bakau. Many people would just want to show their loyalty, say that's my voter card. And people who know would know. If you give them money, you're just wasting your time. It never worked. That's why they have them go by force. You see, we had that. And, you know, even all that, we still have our frictions within ourselves. There's friction ourselves. I'll tell you that. But that's not true. But that too, we grow out of that. And you know, when Jammeh said that, the present MP, the voted in again, 𝐸𝐴𝐶 Kapi, is my classmate. And Hassan is someone, his classmate and a friend. And people that know Hassan, his compound is somewhere that the youths, for that matter, not even boys, girls, and I mean everybody congregate for 𝐸𝐴MPE and so on. It's like the epicenter for everybody else from different angles, from Newtown, everywhere else. And in 2014, I was working with, I can still remember, I was working with Hassan. I went to visit him and we were walking back to my house. And I said to Hassan that I think you should try and run for a councillor. And he said, why? I said, look, I've not seen any of these youths, anybody like you. The way you can, I mean, you are with people in Newtown, in 𝐶𝐫𝐢𝐞𝐿, and in 𝐵ACAU itself, the respect you have from these people, and the love you have from people, I think you should go into politics. And people that know us and tell you he's not a political guy. But for one reason, I thought he had that. I talked for councillor. That's why when I heard that he was becoming an MP, I said, wow, not even a councillor now, he's aiming higher as an MP. Then something happened. When 𝐸𝐴ME made that announcement, I called some of these 𝐸𝐞𝐿s and said, oh, look, 𝐸𝐴ME is coming for us. I didn't say 𝐸𝐴ME is coming for certain people. Because I know what 𝐸𝐴ME was doing. 𝐸𝐴ME want to go for people that he opposed to support them. 𝐸𝐴ME said that he will bring his witch hunters. And all these witches in 𝐵ACAU he is going to poach. We know what that means. He's going to get his opponents. And I said that we have to organize ourselves now. And the only way to stop him is to show solidarity. This is not about 𝐶𝐫𝐢𝐞𝐿, no Newtown or anything. But this is, and I said to them again, this is what our people, our fathers would have done, is to hold together. And I said, 𝐸𝐴ME is a coward. If he knows that we are holding together and get that message, we listen. But I don't want to say certain things, but I tell you, some of the 𝐸𝐞𝐿s in Sumatra, no. They don't want to do it. But again, I did not give up. That's where I went with Dembo Bifos. And in fact, looked at it and said, the only platform now left is the political platform. Now I was trying to bring it together in another way that I don't have another choice. It's a political platform. And I said to him, look, I asked Dembo what is happening now in 𝐵ACAU with UDP. He said, he told me constraints. And I said, I think we need to revive them. I said, the only thing half running here in 𝐵ACAU now is UDP. Now we have to try to revive the spirit to the UDP platform. And I made the strategy, and I organized, I financed, and I got support from people like Bankat Maneden and so on. And I said to him, I would plead to you, bring the meeting in 𝐵ACAU 𝐶𝐫𝐢𝐞𝐿 in the middle. And Dembo is still alive. I drafted the speech. I said, this is the way. I don't want you to even to address it as a UDP platform. I said, for you, let the UDP people say what they want, but this is the way I listen. Call out these names. Call out these names of our elders and said how this is about us coming together to survive. And that's it started. And that's where, luckily, revival. That was 2015, and we all know what happened 2016 and so on. That was the revival. What I'm saying is, again, we can always reset the button. We can always find a way to reset the button. We cannot just keep on going that, yes, you did that to me, you did that to me. When we talk of reconciliation, it's not about reconciliating with criminals. Criminals are to be prosecuted so that justice would be. We cannot encourage impunity. Reconciliation is within us that have faltered one way or the other, that have misunderstanding one way or the other, be tribal, be regional, be opportunists even. We should be brave enough to say that, look, I see it wrong, I did it wrong. But let me come to it. Now let me come to Banjul. I'll talk about Banjul. You know, a similar strategy I did in 𝐵ACAU. I contacted certain people. I said, look, this is getting out of hand. I said to you, you guys have to understand, I decoded That's my expertise. What Yaya Jammeh was doing, I said, this guy have got to a level. He's not stopped. He's in a hole. Yaya knew that he was going, but he's not stopping digging. I said, this is the biggest disrespect you can have. What Yaya was doing, bringing this Banjul elders and a meeting, and would start to tell stories and undermine the elders of Banjul by pointing them out as witness. I'm not going to name the name of the elders because it's a reconciliation move, but most of them are not here anymore. Jammeh would say that this happened in Banjul, which is a lie. And he said, Lajal Diw. And I'll tell you, go and ask people. Jammeh would make sure whenever he point the cameras to point and you look at that person, and that person will not. He undermined. One thing you have is your elders. Jammeh would stand there to talk about hairstyle and talk about private part of women. Jammeh would stand there to talk about marriage and said to you, yes, Dolan definitely, and point to an elder again. The same thing he did with tribe. He would stand and say, no Mandinka would this. No, he would generalize. But next minute, caveat. The message is already gone. You know, just like in trial, a lawyer would know that I should not put this question like this, or I should not put this statement like that. Okay, I'll have to put it. Then when I'm reprimanded, the judge might say, or the district adjudicator might say, disregard that. But it's already in the head. It's a strategy. Yaya does the same thing. He would say, no Mandinka would do this thing, this or that. And turn around. When he turned around and he looked at these Mandinka Lanzaros, when they call them Mandinka Lanzaros, sitting behind him, and said that I am not talking about all Mandinkas, I'm talking about the bad Mandinkas. Those Mandinkas in the opposition. Those Mandinkas who are controlled by the white people, who are now accepting gay marriage, who are now accepting this, who are accepting money from the white people, and in the opposition. You see? Now, which Mandinka want to be bad? He played us. And the other thing, the other people will fall for it. And I said to these people, I mean, I'm not going to name them, I know they tried, and they see what I said. Look, this is what I am doing with Bakau. I think if Banjul can do that, try and get to our kotos, because most of them, they are actually our kotos. They are not our fathers for me. Not that some of them can listen. What I mean is, they call my father father, or my eldest, my siblings are almost the same age as them. But I know they have kids or older than me or of my age. They are my kotos. I said to them, I think we should appeal to them to understand where we are going with this. This is no more about plus or anything. This is about our values. Banjul is reduced to nothing. Why this chap would stand in middle of Banjul talking to Banjulians like this? This is not the Banjul we know. That was my outrage. I said, this is not the Banjul we know. The Banjul we know, even Jawara would have to measure. Look, I know Jawara measured everything. Jawara was disciplined, Jawara was respectful. But you know, if you are a leader, you take very difficult decisions. And that's why, again, I want to point out that. Because people think that all Banjulians are Wolof, all Banjulians are one Wolof working together. No. Jawara used to go on a balance. He will appoint one Banjulian, the other Banjulian will say, oh, this is the type of Banjulian he appoint, not this type of Banjulian. But he have to go on a balance. Jawara was trying to balance almost everything. It was not easy. That's what leadership is about. But to the extent, people that know about the Sol Samba Matansar, when they say Matansar was not going to be better, I'll tell you, outrage. The capital came to standstill. And I'll tell you, from the mosque and youth, protests from the mosque and youth, it has to happen. He has to be better. And others. And if you hear what the imams used to say in Banjul, Imam Ba and others, that's what we know. Just as in Bakau, Imam Jai. I don't want to say something, but I'll tell you some controversial decision Imam Jai took on his own family. Own family. That's why he was respected. His own family, he doesn't spare them. Imam Jammeh, his own family, he decided, no. Yes, it's my family, but that's not going to happen here. This is not what's allowed. And they were respected. I'll tell you, you will have political differences in Bakau, but we've come to those things. No one. We are united behind them. Our religious leaders, we were united behind them. We have Ustaz Mane. He was one of the youngest Ustaz. And Ustaz Mane was from Bufut. People would not know that. He speaks Wolof better than the Wolofs. And Ami Ben Suda and others, our elder sisters, they were the elders in the Dara. Up to the time she became Imam of Dapo. She is known to be righteous. Not political interference or anything. We just go in the middle of it. That's what we had. And Banjul was known for that. But, you see, lifestyle. And you know, because I could not be prejudiced with most of the things people are prejudiced about, because I know they're ignorant of it. When people started the Fajaras and the K-points, I was laughing. Because I know it was, and Yaya Jammeh put it out there, I know it's ignorance. Because I know most of these places, how they were built, or what is built in them. You had Fajara then. Because we started going to Fajara as two things we do in Fajara then was to hunting with dogs. We go hunting in dogs. Yeah, Bakau is a village, I'll tell you. Bakau is a village. We go hunting with dogs. We did all that just as rural. We have farms. The other side of pipeline was farms. Bakau Kunku and going to that area. Kotu was like where we go and look for mangoes, to Kolon. It was thick bush or Kaba and others. K Point was the same thing. In Fajara, we know how it was when these compounds, and most of these compounds were doctors, Dr. Peters, Dr. Palmer, Mahoney, and others. Few civil servants. And I can give you the difference of Fajara. Where was first settlements in Fajara and go on. Some of the settlements in Fajara were even government owned. Were owned by the colonial and transferred to government, and where these things on the, you know, we can differentiate all this because we go up seeing it. But if you don't go up seeing it and hear someone just turn around to make Fajara to be what it was, no. We've seen this where most of them were gardens, and they were just big gardens. And when they started to be gardens, we used to go into their gardens and again to steal fruits. It was like an adventure. And we saw them developing, starting to build something. And it takes ages. But most of them, they saving money or traveling and doing something. I'm not saying there were no corrupt people, but I'll tell you, you'll be surprised that the corruption was even later. Because most of them were not even civil servants. They were not even civil servants. And they did not have to buy their properties, land. They were issued land. Some of them probably taking loans and all that, and building this gradually. And what did they build? Bungalow. Bungalow was the most kind of this thing. Most of them was sloop, but because of they keep it well, you think these things. Prejudice came out from that. K Point was technically, that side of K Point was run by agricultural department. We were very angry when they give those places to be built in houses. There were mangoes. I mean, that's where they do the explain coconuts, cashews, and so on. That's what we used to go forage. But at that K Point, Dembo Boyang had a compound there. Then he was an agricultural assistant. The former Alcalo, when he was I forgot what job he was doing. I mean, different people had their compounds there. And civil servants, that's how they had their compounds there. It was not anything big. But you know, when people have nothing, if anyone have a little, it's big. It's easy to bring out prejudice among ourselves. That prejudice went on. And we should be very careful about this prejudice. Because why am I bringing this about prejudice? It's something people nurture to divide us, to rule us. Now, to the extent now, the Banjul I know, I had these audios, 2 audios. One, apparently it was recorded from 𝐸𝐿, I think one of the groups of committees, whatever, from NPP went to 𝐸𝐿. I had the audio, I'm not sure, but someone said it's from 𝐸𝐿. And all these people are having outrage of this election they lost. But down in it, it's not about the interest of Banjul. It's about the money. They said that they asked for, if I'm right, they asked for 500,000 for campaign. Barrow gave them 2 million. And every minister from Banjul gave them 100,000. Sheikh Omar Faye, Mamburi Njai, Tangara and others. They had about 700,000 or 600,000 on top of that 2 million. But they said that allegations that it's only 500,000 spent, the rest vanish. Now there's a group trying to replace another group in order to get access to that money. It's not about Banjul. I had another audio. This guy saying, yeah, what we did, we went to a place, I mean the youths, and he talked about the youths in that place. He said all those, how did he say, put it again? All what those youth wants is cafe, they make cafe tuba, that's what they want, cafe tuba. Now these people have reduced our youths to Denbuga cafe tuba. That's all they want. Now, and they say that because of they did not mobilize the youths. If they had mobilized the youths, they mobilized the youths based on cafe tuba. You see what they reduce our youths from. Now contrast this to when we were, before we find our independence, after just we have found the resistance from Banjul, that galvanized other people to resist. But again, I'm not saying only Banjul resistance. I give an example of how they resist. And I tell you, Bondali I know too. I know how Bondali did resist to certain things. But other places probably resisted in another way. And how they came together and how they do things. We had that. But this is what they reduce them to. You see, now, when these people come out, and look at all those ministers they say they gave 100,000 to. Those ministers did not look at, they have the purse strings, they have the powers. When they have an opportunity to develop Banjul, what they did, they robbed Banjul. And with that so-called project, millions, Banjul could have been transformed. We all be proud of, that's our capital. Because if they have done right with Banjul, they would have done right somewhere else. But they did not do right with Banjul, they would not do right somewhere else. The reason I'm pointing out this is, we should not hold these people because of their Banjulians, they're doing what they're doing. No. They are criminals, that's why they do what they do. They are not because of their Wallace they do what they do, or their Bambara they do what they do, or their Mandinka they do. No, they are criminals, that's why they do what they do. They are not doing it to benefit anybody else. They are not even themselves, but as I said again, they think that what they're doing is to benefit them. If any man does anything against the greater good, it's not benefiting them. And I'm not going to put that on religion. Logically, because that society will collapse, and that society, your siblings or your generations will be part of that. But because they are bankrupt, intellectually bankrupt, they don't see beyond what they take home. They cannot see the future. Even though they have their masters and their doctorates, it doesn't benefit them. That's why we need to reset this button and be careful with this strategy. That's why I said it's the same minority that will fuel this mechanism of tribalism. And we have to be careful on social media. And some of us will pick it up, and some of others will react, and they have what they want. They are not affected now for the hospitals. They are not affected now for school. You see, even the corruption in Jawar time or Yajame time, these people are us. They are buying properties. They are not sending their kids in Canada and probably pay tuition fee only. No, they are buying properties, and their kids are having allowances and everything from our budgets and the contracts they do. They're buying properties in United Kingdom. They're buying properties in America. They're buying properties in Dakar. They're having investments in America, Dakar. They are investing in the NASDAQ, in the London Stock Exchange and others. That's what they do now. They're the worst criminals for guarantors. Because people like Mambu Njai, they think that they learned their lesson now. This time around, they're going to do it properly. So that when they leave, they are okay. Now, if we fight thinking that it's the Mandinkas or the Wolof doing this to us, is a lie. The same Mandinkas in the cabinet are doing the same thing. The Wolofs are doing the same thing. The Fulas are doing the same thing. Go and check what Ahmad Bagi got from then to now. We should not be divided. Yes, we might have our prejudices, but to be a better person, we should work against those prejudices, to try to educate ourselves, understand ourselves. You know, I give you an example of educating yourself against prejudice. Because where I was brought up, I said I brought up in Bakau. But I have infused from everything. From 𝐶𝐫𝐤𝐞𝐿, you got to have infusion of everything. Every culture. My next door neighbor, direct neighbor, was Badibunka from Salikani, 𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐚𝐜𝐿. He's the most tolerant. That's where we, did the 𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐚𝐜𝐿 forced 2 wives are Jolas. One from Kaburus, one from Funi. Forced 2 wives. Before the 3rd wife, Mama Diba, from Badibu. 𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐚𝐜𝐿. Yeah, the surname is Jabi. People just say Njai. But I tell you, you will not tell because of the family he have. And others. I said difference. We have Manjago certain these things with Bunkiling, Bumfula, and White House. 3 these things. And I'll tell you, you cannot tell their difference. We used to go and play in there. They have never induced us with, even their kids don't drink alcohol. Most of Muslim kids end up drinking alcohol. I'll tell you, I know my Manjago friends, they have never drank alcohol. Probably in ceremonies they would. We have never gone there and they give us to eat this thing. They will tell us, $10 if you want to leg, because of they have pork. That's the respect we have for each other. When this town started to develop, we had that. I have some of my uncles married to, converted some of, we intermarried. That's what we have. But when it comes to this prejudice, it's nurtured and become a system, and this government continues. But that's where we're going. Those audios, that's what they said. There are audios from the diaspora here, so-called NPP supporters. Again, if you know some of them, how much they benefit, even if they're from the benefit, how much they then benefit from our taxpayers' money. And these are the same people to nurture them. Some of them are Mandinka, some of them are Wolof, some of them are Fulas. And there's the same nurturing this tribalism against each other. And some of us fall for it, the way we react or we accept, thinking that no. They're playing a game. They're playing a game, and unfortunately, Dembo by force, that should not have contributed, and came out and said it was a game. He came out and said it, not me saying it. Go and look at the evidence. He said it. It's a game. There's a strategy we play. Strategy that would just inflame the country. That's a strategy for him. My father speaks Mandinka better than Mandinkas. My father speaks Jola better than Jolas. If you go to Foni, he's called 𝐸𝐞𝐿. 𝐸𝐞𝐿. The former chief of Foni, Ibu Koli, did our secondary school in our house. You go to Talending, mechanics, drivers, many became mechanics and drivers because of the intervention from my father. Because he used to have these trucks that do the groundnut trade and so on, and merchandising. Yaya Jammeh, his own uncles in Bakau, Bakari Jammeh, Modu Jammeh, came to Bakau because of my father. They worked with my father as an apprentice and become a driver and transfer to the PWD. That's how much we share. That's how much we share. And others. But, you know, when people, because of a lifestyle, they will do anything to divide. They don't care the outcomes. Now Gambia is the lifestyle that got to a level. You see, that's why when we talk of corruption in Jawara days, yes, it happened. And it was big because of we didn't have anything. The little we have, anybody who have even a 𝐫𝐞𝐿. 𝐫𝐞𝐿 was fashionable. We said, oh, I'm not 𝐫𝐞𝐿. I'm not Benz. No, man. Now, it's just out there. Corruption is like, even clerks can go on millions. Go and see what they're building now and other things they're doing. And they don't care. They don't see the downfall of this. That's why we have to be careful. You see, again, that's why when Barrow came, the struggle stayed long because Yahya Jammeh played the game. Yahya Jammeh played the game, and the game kind of, he got tired of the game and just started miscalculating and bringing, and that's why you see, to the extent of taking Sero Job Avenue, naming it Mr. Kole, you know, bringing Bakso and second, you see, he disregarded competence after. Everything is about who is loyal to me or who I can control. Before, I'll tell you, the architects of the APRC were the best of the politicals we have in the country. But as he went on, as he went down the line, he just wanted a loyalty. Buba Baldes away, everybody else away, and that's it. Even the ministers, deep down. But Barrow starts from that. Barrow starts from that directly. That's just what you should understand where we are now. You see, not to take it long, we all know what happened in 2016 and going on. And that's why I said, I hold on to something. Because this struggle, people say, oh, this struggle. People dated the struggle as 1994. No, this struggle, we're born with it, we're going to die with it. The struggle is something we're born and die with it. And I don't even pray to God that I would ever give up onto the struggle. I never pray that to God. Because what would make me to give up would be something catastrophic within my own family that I don't have time to come and advocate for something else. The way I'm going to do it might be different. As we grow old and other things, we do things different. Am I going to protest from my heart? Am I going to protest from my tongue? Am I going to protest from my this thing? I will protest. Because it's part of why I was created. That's my understanding of my beliefs. It's my belief. That's why I'm created. I cannot be in society and seeing society rotting and I'm not doing something about it. I'm not being society, not helping. Trying to see how to improve things. That's what we should do. But if we think that we predict, or because, yes, struggle began now. That's how much you know. As I said, from a child, I had a struggle. Because growing up, there's this thing, Fullers will tell you, there's something they call them. Like, in a way, it might just, if you don't understand Fuller, it might just mean this thing, but it means people who are different from us. That's what it means metaphorically. When the way people who are different from us. And in Fuller's, I'll tell you again, there's something they call balebe. When they say balebe, they say black people. And the people they mean black people is not the color of the skin. They mean non-Fullers are black people. And this thing disturbs me. Disturbs me. But because it disturbs me, I said, no, I know my father is not prejudiced. I know my mom is not prejudiced. I know most of these people, I know they're not prejudiced to others. Why are they calling them others? Why are they calling them black people? You see, that's why I said at times we need to educate ourselves. Until the internet. In UK here, probably 95, 96, 99, from 95 on, because I came to the UK in 95. I went on Google and started educating myself. I came across an anthropologist explaining the ancestrals of Fullas. And in anthropology, he's explaining the language. You know, when you investigate in anthropology, you can go from looking for forensics in remains or anything else. You can go for genealogy on others. But language. He said, Fullas, and he said in language of Fullas, they would say black people and not based on the color. And I say bingo. Because he said the reason is their ancestral lineage. The language was transported from their interactions, from people who are of another background. That's where the language comes from. It's not based on prejudice. I became comfortable. I don't use it. But at least if I hear someone say it, I just understand it's something from it's part of a language, but it's not meant to be prejudiced. But because of it does not sound right, I politically educate myself not to use it. We need to educate ourselves. There are a lot of things. I know of people who are not from Bakau, or some people in Bakau. So, yeah, Bakau, everybody, they call them Luntongo. And I laughed. I said, yeah. I said, it's a village mentality. Bakau is a village. Bakau is a village. Bakau have 2 alcalos. Most people don't know. I said, that's how we are a village. And you think we don't carry this with us? I said, but matter of time it will go. I said, the Luntango is just to differentiate. I said, it's not because of prejudice. I said, I know people who are, and I said, subconsciously they don't even realize it, who are not Mandinkas, who are from Bakau Sancheba. And just the other day, I was asking about the MP for NPP. I said, I don't know this guy, Asan Damfa or something. And the guy was talking about, he said a Ganla. He said to me, Ganla. You see? I mean, that's why we have to understand these people's game. You see, the game started in the First Republic. As I said, after independence, they start the game. Political opportunism and divide us. But because of we still have our culture of resistance and orders within Banjul, people resisted. But look at these ministers. They give 100,000 each campaign fund. Go and look at the mortuary. Someone made an audio about that. When the mortuary, these people live in Banjul, they have families who are going through the mortuary and everything. But they have never bothered about that mortuary until the mortuary people with concern brought that out. And I'll tell you, if they had intervened, if they had put their money, each of them have put in 100,000, and you would have heard about it. They might not even need to declare it. I'll tell you, someone will bring it out to say that they definitely blue. Definitely, that's what the nature of people. They will not do it. They don't care about Banjul. They don't live in Banjul. They don't interact with Banjul. Only thing they go and look at it. Then why should we let these people, give these people, to make these people powerful? Because when we go against Banjul, because of these people and the people they control, what do? We empower them. We have to pull the carpet off under them. Understand that the struggle we have, this is the average Gambians are having that struggle. And the people perpetrating this notion of divide, they are the problem of the struggle. That's why they with Barrow. The same people were with Jammeh. And the same people were with Jawara. To the extent of they were doing everything for Jawara's family. And most of them become something because of Jawara. But they were the first people that abandoned Jawara. And they went to Jammeh. And first people to abandon Jammeh. And they did this. And they did everything for Jammeh. They used to own Jammeh, Sundomla. The same people. But the average Banjulian was suffering. Remember, to the extent, Jammeh did everything to everybody. He did not spare. He did not even spare his own family. But they did not care. They would take a job from their own sibling. They don't care. Some of them would even, these people should not be empowered. They should be leading because of the capital and set an example. And as I said, being the capital, other people came and settled in. Go and find out who were with the Moja, who were with other groups. Most of this Vu. Go and look at the surnames in those these things. You know that it's Gambian youths that came together. Even to the music was progressive. When Ifam Bondi came out, you see the composition of Ifam Bondi. The background was Aku and others, Olaf, Mandinka, Fulas came together and they settled for a name. And the name means something to them because they want to put their culture out there. Ifam Bondi. And that Ifam Bondi, they have everything. The Bukarabu, they have the Riti, they have the everything else represented. That was progressive. They have the Ndaga, and everything was progressive. Before even Ndaga became a Senegalese mainstream music, it started in Gambia. That's our strength. That's the diversity together. But not this lobbying of positions or trying to be in communities for money. They are not doing it. They don't love Adama Barrow. They don't like Adama Barrow. They look down to Adama Barrow, but they would put themselves down in front of Adama Barrow to get the money and to live a lifestyle. But the average Banjulian is not the problem. Then we should use this opportunity to reset the button from every level. And this is not only level of parliament, this is across the board. And the same prejudice they put in Basse again. My father lived in Basse. The same prejudice they put in Basse again. And everywhere. Down the prejudice is everywhere. You go to Badibu. Just as they divided Badibu during Jawara days. Yajame came and continued, and now it's continuing. Go to Combo, it's the same thing. We are so much divided in order for a system to stay. Then we should understand that. The outrage should not be selective. Every time we will fight. We should have understanding of our problems and tackle the problems. It's about good governance. It's about making sure competency is measured. That's what we should have. Diversity is encouraged. Inclusiveness is the only thing that will bring us prosperity. With our freedoms, and people can be creative. But you think these people would do anything good? No, nothing good will come out of it. Wait till you see. You see, this is it. When someone show you themselves, accept it. I mean, Barrow humble. Barrow, yes, because he was just out of debt. Probably, because they have beliefs, probably, apart from his belief that he was going to be president, probably he have a belief. They know what they do to have those beliefs. But you can see him, then he used to say Uncle OJ or Uncle Halifa, and he would be like that, like a Taliban. Uncle Halifa, when he came out saying, Usain Dabo, my father, and I used to tell them, you guys be careful, this is not sincere. The guy is not sincere. He is not sincere. He's playing us. All that. Aji Yamseka, my mom, Farmata Tamajan, this thing, he was ruthless. Pam. No. We don't want to accept this. Anytime he go for one, a group will be happy. Yeah. Farmata Tamajan, yes, yeah. She's my auntie. I was happy, but that is this because she exposed herself. Because she was respected when she stood with us. But the minute the game started to play, it's playing her interest, I came out and called her out. And when she became a casualty, but hey, look, is the replacement any better? The gender activist? No. I know many people were looking at it and lenses of whether what tribe is the person or what region is the person. We have even had Mandinka saying certain regions of Mandinkas are not appointed. You see, until we use metrics, when we use metrics, the good thing is not only for the outcome, but what it does is it wins confidence. People look at it, oh, it was based on the metrics. Or Ben Swari came out of it, it's because of the metrics. Then the Ben Swari as a Fuller, Ben Swari of Bakau, or Ben Swari associating with a group would not be the issue. But people that we know their track records, what do you expect from them? He is deliberate. You see, when Barrow came out to say caretaker government, we said it. He's waiting for after what he wants. He will lie to you. He's a liar. For God's sake. And he's arrogant because he feels that we cannot hold him accountable. Now, all the resemblance of accountability he have undermined from parliament to everything else. Now, he have to go through elections, go out there, do everything possible, steal the elections. No, because our difference is we don't even want to. If we don't see the evidence, we don't even want to rationalize it. No, elections were not stolen. And basics, how can we have, when the minute, again I blame the opposition for that. The minute IEC came out with we're going to register about 1 million, slap them. Tell them, ask them where the statistics from. How can we have 2 million? Where did you get this from? Where did you work out this from? We have 2 million people in the country. How many would be eligible to register? I mean, age, citizenship, and naturally, apart from a dictatorship like North Korea, you cannot have 100% turnout. You can do anything, but you cannot achieve 100% turnout to register. And we know that if we say that we have 2 million Gambian, 2 million in the country, as I said, Senegal have declared 500,000. I don't believe they have 500,000 people in the Gambia. I think they have 300,000. Because of, again, they are using that to steal elections. For Senegalese elections. So that they can bring their underage and and use some other people to vote for the incumbent. That's what they do. We all know it doesn't make sense that we have over 900, almost 1 million registered voters. So how can that work? What population demography we have? How many people are under 19, under 18? How many people would be under 18 day of elections? Take that out. Take that out. No, but no, we're not serious. When people like us come in, based on facts, even showing you pictures, showing you videos of people in transport to come in, they try to justify, no Gambians, you say Senegal. Not a Gambians, I say Senegal. Not a Gambians, you say Senegal. Gambians, you say Senegal. Gambians, they try to justify, well, Gambian make a Mauritania. They try to justify. But we know that in the history of politics, and not in the Gambia, in Africa, this is a system that incumbents does. It happens in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, in everywhere else. Depends what the opposition do to reduce it in order to strategize to win. But you cannot have a free and fair elections in Africa. It's what the opposition do to minimize it in order to have a chance to win. We ignore it because of we are seeing it as it's not affecting me now. But when democracy fails, what do you expect? Just as when it happened in Jawal days. What led us to the coup? Democracy failed. I'll tell you that. Where democracy thrived, there's nothing like that. Because then you don't understand the concept of democracy. We were eating Yaya state law and winning elections. And he was arrogant because he's not accountable to us. He knows that he has the army, he has a security mechanism in place. But not only that, he has to legitimize himself. Because if he is not going through the ballot box, it's become more difficult. Now, he has to make sure he goes through the ballot box because then a lot of international appeased them in many ways. I was democratically elected. If he had absolute power, he would just say, don't care about democracy. But no, we still there's something still from the international to certain pressures. He has to play ball. That's why he played ball. That's why after 2016, he wanted to move on to the Islamic State. That two people were falling for it. How can you see someone who, does everything and you want to believe that he's doing this for the benefit of Islam? What Islam did you believe in then? And the person who does everything against Sharia, you think that person would welcome Sharia? Everything against Sharia, that's what he lives on. And you expect that person would, this is Sharia? Yes, if he had crossed the elections, he was expecting, calculating that the OIC projects would have been listened, then prosperity will come in the combo, the Chinese projects, the roads and in the provinces would kick in, prosperity will come in, then the oil will be pumping, money will come in, then his relationship with China, relationship with Russia will be cemented, then he can form an emir. We all see the evidence at the TRRC. When the Justice Minister said, yeah, there was an exploratory committee to look on how to introduce the Sharia, introduce the Islamic State. Now, he could just he don't need that elections anymore, because it's tiring. Now, absolutely he's a monarch. Now, his dream of ruling of 1,000 years would be actualized by putting a system that they will come in. Yahya Jammeh the force, something the second and the third before, because that he have consolidated on us. But because of people keep on fighting, he could not achieve that. Now, that's why we need to reset this button, this foolishness to stop. What do you expect from Adama Barrow? What did any Gambian expect from Adama Barrow when he said this caretaker government? And you know, we said it because he wants to cross this line so that he can do whatever he wants. He doesn't want to hold accountable. Now, cross this line, it falters, but still now, he wants to cement. Now, he did not have the number of MP he wanted. Now, he wants to cement that by controlling. Now, I'll tell you, I believe, I don't have proof, I believe that 𝐶𝐫 is an afterthought. Now, he measures his loyalty. You think Barrow is stupid? He knows these people around him, but he believed that 𝐶𝐫 would do anything for him. Because 𝐶𝐫, in 5 years, 𝐶𝐫 have got 2 mansions, one in the Combo, one in this village. And 𝐶𝐫 is liquid now. Now, 𝐶𝐫 will be deputy. Now, I put Fabakary there. If Gambians accept that, look, my radical things, if the MPs fail, Gambians can come out and tell him to get off. Gambians will come out and tell him to get off. We should not be abused by because of there's a loophole, we have bad laws. There's an expectation we should have. We can't come out and tell him to get off. But that's up to Gambians. I'm not dictating that to Gambians. But you see, a deterrent is that the person have to believe that you can do something else. Now, he knows that there's nothing to deter him. We don't have a deterrent against it. That's what he believes. Because that's why he always wants economic there. If anyone talk about economic, people misunderstood. That's why he wants economic there. Now, the vote, he doesn't have what he wants in the MPs. Now, he wants to have the speaker and deputy speaker. And even not calculating that if you appoint a speaker, you cannot take that speaker out for the term. And Fabakary can go. What Fabakary will not go wrong. He knows that. People think that Fabakary, no, he has loyalty to Jammeh. I tell nobody have loyalty to Jammeh. Not even his wife and kids. There's nothing to loyalty to Jammeh. All these people telling you they have loyalty to Jammeh, I'll tell you, most of them is ignorance. They portray in this loyalty. It's ignorance. because they believe in certain people are prejudiced to them, they have to, and they may represent their interests. It's a lie, because if anybody knows, Jammeh did worse to his people than anybody will ever do, or if you think of doing. How can that person represent anything for you? It's just based on ignorance. Now, if he does that, what do you expect from a cabinet? And you're surprised how many people were lobbying that cabinet, from vice president to any people. And but you know, if you know those people, you will not be surprised. Most of them were with Jammeh. Somewhere in the international now, they retire from the international, or their secondments are finished. But they will always try to get a government job. Yesterday, someone wrote something and said, "Oh, where's all that money?" I said, "Abuka barka. That money doesn't barka. If you do these things, you kind of suffer. You will be found out." Sa mujj du rafet. Ila laba ñaate, I mean, fenkel. That's what happens. You cannot do this thing to people and end up having a good ending in life. You'll suffer. Your family will end up suffering. You see? This is the problem. Now he is doing these things. And I'll tell you, if Barrow is going to bring in the worst cabinet, don't be surprised. This is just a start. If he dare does this, what else we will not do? Yes, we can look at the issue about diversity, representation of Christians and everything. There are many things that you can look at this. But what Barrow is after is what Barrow wants. It's not about the Gambian people. Barrow is not interested or doesn't even think about how to bring Gambians together. It's not with him. He cannot have that. He's so much in what he can get with his family. That's all he wants. He has proven that. Within a short period, building places, houses, and said, I remember when he built his mother's compound. Hey, Hana, take you wood, Hana, do living. Nonsense. Nonsense. But that's where we are now. But Barrow is looking down into the barrel of the gun. I'll tell you, Barrow doesn't even know what he's doing. I'm telling Gambians, if you know what's in that armed forces, if you know if you know the ticking time of that armed forces is, if you know the, you see, 𝐤𝐞𝐿 is just starting to see what, I mean, let's see. If you think these soldiers will be the solution, don't bank on that. And if you think that the soldiers is dare not do certain things, even with 𝐸COMOG there, keep on thinking that way. I'm not saying that all soldiers are bad, no. But I don't want to explore that. We have a better system, it's democracy. We have a better system, us to reset this button. From now on, we can bring this to this thing, but we have to be honest to each other. We cannot have selective outrage. Selective outrage. This is about Barrow. This is about Barrow and people, a minority of people that are entrenching him because of their self-interest. This is not about Mandinkas, not about Fullers, not about Jolas or anything. Yes, these people came out from this. They happened to come out from this. But they would have behaved this way wherever they have come out. It's about them and what they want for their families. It's not about representing Fuller's interests, not Banjulian interests, not Wolof interests, not Mandinka interests or anything. Because go around Barrow, they are all around him. But it's all a mechanism. Let's just not fall for this. And on social media, we have attention seekers. People want to be relevant. They would insult, they would do anything. They would come out to this thing. They don't, look, they don't represent anybody. Listen to people that have risen. You will not agree with everything they say, but reason out what they say. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a dialogue. Let's settle these differences. We all have prejudice. We have to educate ourselves out of those prejudices. Especially we that have the exposure. I'm not saying that everybody have exposure would treat themselves. No. Some people even become more ignorant because of they believe that they are aware, while they have not. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a long one. I didn't want it to stay this long. But That's what the essence of the program is. We should not center this about just the nominated. There are lots of things happening. With all this corruption going on, we don't want to have outrage in it. People would view it, they will not touch it. And the same people will run and talk about this outrage. But all these cocaine issues, all this issues, they will not touch it. That outrage is selective. That outrage is selective. We have to be outraged with GDC. And now, most of these people there, especially in the NPP, it's not that they have a problem with it, it's because of what they lose it. Some of them are positioning themselves because the campaign money is finished. Now they want to position themselves. And in Banjul, already they're trying to position themselves for mayor. That's why they're fighting each other. It's not about they care about Banjul or Barrow or anything else. That's why we should not take these people that way. Let's pull the carpet off them. Let's not empower them thinking that they represent Banjul or they represent Wolof or they represent Mandinka or Fulas or anything. Ahmad Ba's fourth wife or third wife that he had from UK here, people don't talk about it. He's not Fuller. He's not even Wolof or Sose or anything. But go look at the girl. He's punching above his weight. Now because he's a minister, he can point that. If he was not a minister, he wouldn't point that. But let's see. But that's what they do. It's about them. We have to really be wise up to this and reset the button. That's all. Let's move on and make sure we hold the system accountable. Let's come together. Yes, we can have our political differences or wherever, region or whatever, but that prejudice, let's not build the country on prejudice. Let's just make sure we look at the competence and issues that we need to bring in and support the diversity. Diversity have to happen. Be it women inclusive, gender, the youth, and whatever it is, we have to do it. And it's possible. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good afternoon.